Get these little lights on. And there we go. And the focus has shifted again. Hey, what's up everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought we'd jump into Lightroom and show you my editing process of my photos. I've got a few already loaded in, so we'll go in and into the development stage of that. And basically give you a rundown of how I edit my photos, using the various sliders and colour grading within it. Show you some presets that I had sent to me as well, from good friend Mikey Alexi over in the States. So we'll get into that and show you the process. Okay, so I've got 4 photos loaded in here. So we'll go up to the development stage, we'll click on that, and then as you see at the bottom you get your photos that come up here. So you got 4 different shots here. So I thought I'd go through and just show you how I edit them. Okay, so on the left hand side here are the presets that Mikey sent over to me. These are just prototype ones for the moment. I believe they're coming out soon on his website, so I'll leave a link to his channel and everything in the description below, and you can check out his website. Awesome photographer. So yeah, you'll have to give him a follow for sure. So that's the presets, so various different sort of ones, depending on what kind of mood you want to go for, and subtlety, it all depends. But if I wasn't using presets, so what I would do here is on the right hand side you've got all of your control panels. So you've got your exposure, your contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, blacks, texture, clarity, your dehaze, vibrance, saturation, you've got your tone curves, all the RGB, and then further down you have your Hsl sliders, which obviously adjusts the colour. So for instance, like we've got a bit of green here in the foreground, so I can bring that up and really saturate it. But yeah, so we'll go through that whole process. So to start with, what I may do is let's go up to, I'm going to go to masking. Now you have got some new additions to this version of Lightroom on the PC, and the mobile app as well, I believe. So you have subject select, which you click on that and it selects the subject, so basically whatever's in focus it will select. And you have sky select as well. It's okay, it does an okay job. I mean, an image like this, it's not going to get the sky between all of the masts on the boats there, but it does fairly well. But what I generally do is go to linear gradient, click on that, and then you get this cross that comes up. So you just hold the left click down on the mouse and drag it out to probably about there, I reckon. And I'm just going to bring the exposure down ever so slightly on the sky, and bring the contrast up a little bit. Now these settings here that come up in this box, they only affect the masked area, not the rest of the image, so you'll be safe there. I'm going to bring the highlights down, bring some shadow back in there, see if, and bring the whites down a little bit, give it that sort of more darker area in the clouds there. A bit of the black. Clarity and texture I'm not going to touch, not for the clouds at least. And then the dehaze, I'm going to bring that down, because you can't see it, but on the day that I took this photo, off in the distance here there was like a misty rainfall that was coming in, so I'm just trying to use the dehaze to sort of emulate that in the background there. So that's that, and just a tad saturation, and that is it. And then you go up to the masking tool again, click that, and that takes you off your mask settings. So now we're on to the main image. So here there's not too many shadows there, so just bring the highlights down just a tad, bump some contrast in there. Now with the contrast, you do need to be a bit careful, because obviously if you add loads of contrast to it, it's going to add saturation to your photo as well. So you kind of want to just be gentle with it and not add too much to it. So I'm going to go around +9 there. I've got into a stage recently of editing my photos, just slightly edit them and not going over the top, like you have on some people's photos. Shadows, I will bring the shadows down a little bit. Whites, bring them out a little bit, just bring some of this white back on the boats here. And the blacks. Okay, and the texture. Texture, I'm going to go +4 with the texture. That's all you need, just to bring a little bit of the texture out in like the stones and stuff down to the bottom here. Getting clarity, +11, and then just bring that dehaze up a little bit, +4. There we go. And the vibrance, and then the saturation. I don't like my photos to be oversaturated too much, so I bring that down to about -9, sorry. Okay, and then we're into the curves. So your curve tones, so I always make a selection in the middle and then just drag it down and see what the image looks like. So that's good there, so leave that in the middle, and then the highlights, just push that up. This one here I'm going to drag down a little bit, just so that those highlights roll off a little bit better, and then make another point here, bring those blacks in a tad, and this one I'm going to lift, just to lift those blacks and make them a little bit softer. So that is that. You know, you have got your other colours here, so you've got your red, which is like your red and teal sort of blue colour, which again, like, you can go either way and it will change the image drastically. So there is a little bit of red in the gravel and stuff, so we'll just bring that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, we'll move on to the Hsl sliders now. So obviously you've got your hues here, so things like, let me see a perfect example here. So you've got the blues on the the blues on the boat here. So if you go down to the blue, you can see that it goes from sort of like a teal aqua colour all the way up to sort of like a purplish blue. Now with the hues, if you're new to this, as you slide that up, you'll see that the colour changes. You do have to be careful if you want to change some colours, because if you can see, it's affected that slight blue in the background there, which obviously is not what you want. So I generally don't change the hue colours all that much, to be honest. I might do it in the oranges a little, just bring it down a tad just to make those oranges a bit more orange, and the same with the yellows, bring the yellows down as well. And then I've got the greens here, which again you can bring down, make the green look more of a yellow, or punch it out so it's like really bright green. But we got that sort of like algae coloured seaweed stuff where the tide's gone out there, so leave that. Saturation, go for the orange, just bump the saturation up a little bit, maybe +10. Yellows, again bring that up to +8. And the greens, I'm going to desaturate to around -40 because I don't want them too green, especially having this bit of plant here in the foreground just to create a bit of depth in the image. And luminance, so this affects how bright you want your colours. So again, the greens I'm going to bring down, the oranges I'm going to lift those a little bit just so that they're a bit brighter, and the yellows I'm going to bring down a tad as well. And that is pretty much it, I think. There's no sort of aqua colour in there. Blues, I'll make them a little bit brighter just so that the blue on the boats here sort of come out a little bit more. Okay, and then we're down to sort of like, this is your colour grade section. So you have your midtones, your shadows and your highlights. So you click the middle, and then obviously the more you drag it down, the more it affects the photo. So I mean, it was quite a sort of like a dull, moody day, so I just add a little bit of blue to the mid-tones there. Highlights, I'm going to do the same, just add that touch of blue, and then just a little bit of sort of like orangey yellow into that as well, and then just blend it however you want, really. Blend all the colours in so that it kind of gives you an ease effect. Okay, and then further down we have the sharpening. So this was taken on the camera I'm recording on now. So it comes up with a standard sharpening of 40. I like to bring the sharpening up just a little bit, normally around +10 on top of the 40, so it sits around 50. I found that sort of reasonably well for posting to social media. So yeah, and you got details and the radius. I generally don't touch those all that much. Noise reduction, you can bring that up a little bit if you've got quite a noisy image, you know, or edit to the noise. You know, you can create a really nice sort of filmic look to your image with the noise, adding grain and such. Got contrast, and then you've got colour noise here as well. You know, I can't see anything wrong with that, so I'm not going to touch that. And then right at the bottom here is all the details of the lens that I use. So it says here Sony FE 50mm f1.8, and then it's got enabled profile correction, and I'm going to click remove chromatic abrasions as well. So that is the sort of purple fringing that you can get around some parts of your image with certain types of lenses. So it's always good to click that. It does a reasonably good job of getting rid of those chromatic abrasions. And that is pretty much it. So down here you've got sort of like your color calibration. So you got your shadows, you got the primary, red, primary, green, and your blue. So basically your RGB colours. And so we're going to go into the greens again. I'm going to bring the saturation down on the green, and then bring it down more to that sort of yellowy-ish tinge to it. And bring the blue up a smidgen, and that is it. So that's the first image there. What I might do actually is just go up to the masking here, click the plus button, linear gradient, and I might just bring in a little grade into here, into this corner here, and just drop the exposure a little bit, just so it brings your focus into the where the boats are there, and it's not too distracting down this bottom corner. And that's it. That's the first image done. So I will click on the next image. So we've got here a little boat. You can see the knot of the rope there leads out to the boat here. Again, we've got that sort of hazy, misty background. This time I will add a preset to it. Mikey's presets are pretty good. Sometimes you can get away with just literally one click and you're done, which I've never had with a preset before. So yeah, my hat's off to you, Mikey, for these. They're awesome. So I think with this one, Summit looks quite nice with the browns, Alpine, Blue Hour, and I'm gonna go with, I think, if I find the one I'm looking for, this is sort of more my style, which is the North Film, but I think we're going to go for the Summit one this time, just because I quite like these browns here and everything. It looks nice. It looks nice. Now, there's not a lot really that I need to do to this photo. You know, it looks pretty good as it is, but what I am going to do is I'm going to go into the masking tool. I'm going to go select subject, and it's going to do its little detecting subject thing here. Okay, now it's selected the subject here, and it's got a couple of these little posts as well. So as you can see, it's not like you've got this space in here, but we'll come back to that in a minute. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to lift the exposure on the boat itself and just bring the contrast down, bring the highlights, add some shadows too, lift the whites up a little bit, and minus one of the blacks, and the clarity I'm going to bring up 13, and the dehaze I'm going to leave, and this time I am going to add just a tad of saturation to the boat itself, just to make that boat pop off the picture a bit more. Add a little bit of sharpness and a little bit of noise. Bring that down and that. So I believe these just sort of like affect the featherness and stuff of what you've done, so it looks more natural within the photo and not over the top or anything like that. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that there. So I'm going to deselect the mask now. I'm going to go and zoom into my image here, and this bit doesn't seem to match the rest of the image. As you can see, it's a bit bright there. So what I'm going to do again is go up to the mask, I'm going to hit plus, and I'm going to click on the brush, and I'm going to make that a little bit bigger there, and I'm going to drop the exposure just a little bit, and we'll bring back sort of this slightly darker area here within these poles of the photo. So and click off that and click out again. So that bit there is a little bit too dark now, so we'll go back in and we will which one was it? Click the brush, and I'm going to go erase and bring that up a little bit. I'm just going to make this a little bit brighter, this area here, just because I made it a little bit too dark. And that's looking good-ish. Not sure what this is here. Okay. So yeah, so then we got this blade of grass here, which you know you can remove if you wish. I'm personally going to leave it in there because I think it adds to the photo, because you got the grass here in the foreground out of focus. So yeah, leave that where it is. Yeah, and that's pretty much what all I'm going to do with this photo. You know, with presets, the idea of them is you know, they're not going to be one-click wonders all the time. You are going to have to make adjustments. It just so happens that this one works really well with this photo, so that is something to keep in mind. The other thing, just adjust that, denoise the image a little bit, chromatic aberration, and there we go. And that's a pretty good photo right there. Yeah, so what I was saying is, with presets, the idea is, you know, get yourself some, have a look at the settings on them, and then rather than just clicking the preset and using it straight away, you know, have a look at the settings, go through them, write down on a bit of paper or in a notebook or something, you know, of what the settings are, and try and mimic the preset yourself. That's what I did for quite a while to get the hang of how Lightroom worked and what sliders did what to the image and things like that. You know, it's just trial and error. It's trial and error, it really is, especially when you're just starting out with photography, you know, and you're just getting into the editing process of your image as well. Now, I mean, with this image I could take it a bit further and go into Photoshop and just bring out that boat a little bit more and remove the grass here, but I'm not going to do that today. So next image. Okay, so this one, we've got some poppies. It's not the best photo, to be honest. It's just one I snapped off, just sort of to get my exposure and everything right. But yeah, so this one again, I will bring the exposure up on it a little bit, add some contrast, again not too much. Highlights, yeah, highlights, will lift the highlights plus 23. Shadows, we could bring the shadows down actually, give that sort of more moodier tone to it. Bring the blacks in. Now this time there's quite a lot of texture here with the water droplets and stuff and the seed pods and whatnot, so I am going to add a little bit of texture. Plus 5 is good enough. Clarity again plus 12 on that. Dehaze, I'm not going to touch the dehaze. Bring the vibrance up a little bit, and again I'm going to drop the saturation down just a tad, and then I'm going to go into my S-curve here, bring those mid-tones down, push the highlights up, bring my fade in that I like, just lift those blacks just a tad, and there we go. And again with the greens, push it in and lift that a little bit. So I'm going to give the greens, I'm going to change the hue of the greens. I'm going to bring them out a little bit more so they are sort of a slightly deeper green. And saturation, we'll bring that up a little bit. I'm going to desaturate the yellows, desaturate the orange, The red, I'm going to bring the saturation up because I want those red petals of the poppy sort of there. Magenta, and bring the saturation of the purples down as well. Bring the luminance up of the red poppies. Take the luminance down of the green and the blues and the purples and the magenta I'm going to take down as well. So yeah, and that's kind of that. It's just a simple edit really, not much to it. So next picture, we got this sort of sailing boat here. So first of all, as you can see with the horizon there, it's slightly off the horizon. It's not completely level there. That's because it was taken handheld. So we're going to go into this little square with these arrows up here, which is your crop tool on the here, and then you're going to come down to here which says angle, and you've got the slider. Now you turn it one way, it spins the photo. Turn it the other way, it goes the other direction. So what you want to do is just sort of angle it and slide it across until you've got the sort of horizon level with one of the horizontal lines. So that looks pretty good to me. So again, you've got the aspect ratio of your image, so you can click on that and come down. And you've got all your usual, you've got your 4:3 for your Instagram posts, you've got 16:9 and 16:10, and you can enter your own custom sizing if you want. So with this image here, let's go 4:3. Yeah, we'll leave that there. Again, we'll have a look at the preset, see how that comes out. Again, that's worked quite well. It's a little bit dark, so I would bring the exposure up on it. Alpine, that's kind of got like an old filmy feel to it. So let's go North Film. We'll go North Film. It's got a nice sort of slight faded film look to it, which I think is quite nice. So again, we've got the boat here, so to make the boat a bit more sort of punch off of the image a bit more, I'm going to go subject select. That should select the boat there when it gets going. Okay, so it selected the boat and that entire area there. That's unfortunate, but still, never mind. So again, I'm going to bring the exposure up a little bit. So there, a bit of contrast, pump the highlights, bring some shadows in, push the whites a little bit more, bring the black down. Again, add some clarity. So yeah, so I was talking about adjusting the horizon level using the crop tool there. So yeah, so it's not too bad of an image. You know, it's I said not too bad. Yeah, so we've used the crop tool to level out the horizon, and that's basically what we've done. So we're going to now, I will come off that. I mean, there's not much in the way to do with this image. I mean, it's all, the presets actually worked really well with the image, so there's not much in the way that I could do with it. Maybe with the highlights, maybe bring just that little bit of a blue tinge back in the water here. sorry, in the shadows. Give it another tweak there in the mid-tones, and yeah, that looks pretty okay. Again, I'm going to do my usual, bump the sharpening up to 50, use the noise reduction a little bit, and chromatic abrasions, and that's pretty much that image done. I mean, you could go back into the crop, you know, and you could crop it in a little bit more just to get rid of some of that sky, you know, sort of there if you like. It's entirely up to you. Like I said, photography it's an art form. It's the way we express ourselves through our photography, so you know, you need to kind of do the same with the editing process as well. So yeah, so I mean, that looks okay, and that's pretty much all I would do to that. I might just go into the masking. First of all, come off the masking. I'm going to zoom in onto the boat here and go to mask, go brush, and make that a bit bigger, and I'm going to just quickly sort of show you how useful this brush can be. So just brush the boat there. So do the sails as well. Do the sails. I'm just doing this quickly just to sort of show you guys, you know, what you can do within Lightroom. You know, because I understand that, you know, when you first sort of download the software from the Adobe Creative Cloud, you know, or maybe you've bought the photography package, you know, and you've never used Lightroom before, and you're like, what the hell am I looking at? You know, it can be quite daunting. So that is that. So we've kind of roughly gone round and highlighted the boat, and then what you can do is you can bring the exposure up of the entire boat there, you know, as much as you want or as little as you want. It's really entirely up to you. Again, it's, you know, it's just trial and error. That's all it is, trial and error. Just play around with it, you know, see what you like, what you don't like, and yeah, and just go from there, really. That's all you can do. So, and that's that. So there you go. So we've made the boat sort of stand off the photo just a little bit more. You know, it is rough, you can see around the edges there. You can go and tidy that up, but that is basically as simple as it gets. It's not difficult. You know, once you've had a few goes at it and you understand what sliders do what in your images, you know, you can create some really nice pieces of artwork. So yeah, have a go. Let me know how you get on in the comments below. You know, and if you're after some good presets as well, go and check out Mikey's link. I'll link that in the descriptions down below, for his YouTube and his Instagram page as well, where he's got links to his website as well, which is where the presets will be on here. The presets that I'm using now, they'll be up on his website. So yeah, go and check it out. And yeah, like I said, let me know in the comments below how you get on with it. If there's any questions or anything, I'll do my best to try and answer them. That's it. Yeah, give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, comment below. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.